What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today I'm here to do a manga pickups video. Now, I've done, I think, a couple in the past, but it's been a while since I've done one, and I just wanted to talk about what I got this week to kind of update my collection, but also talk about a certain future video I want to make because of the manga pickup videos I did. So, pretty much, if you've been following my Twitter, most likely you already know what I ordered this week, but I actually ordered Tokyo Ghoul Volume 8, Tokyo Ghoul Volume 9, Tokyo Ghoul Volume 10, and Volume 11. Now, I'll show you the kind of backs of it as well. Here's Volume 8's back. You have that with Tatara on the back, Noro, and Eto, as you can see there. On Volume 9, you have Akira on the front, and then you have Almond on the back, as you can see. And then we have Volume 10, which has Naki, and then on the back you have Jason. And then we go to Volume 11 here, which has Kaneki going into a centipede mode, while you have this over here, you have Kuro and Shiro on the back of Volume 11. Now, overall, I just want to say, in terms of, these manga volumes, it's been a while since I've actually, gotten the Tokyo Ghoul volumes. I'm actually more up to date with Tokyo Ghoul Re's volumes instead of Tokyo Ghoul, which is kind of strange, because, I mean, these are English, while Tokyo Ghoul Re is only in, Japanese, which I have 2 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul Re coming in the mail very soon. I have Volume 9 and 10, the one that has the cover of Almond, and then the newest one that just came out in Japan, like, last week or so, that has, Ure with, the, duct tape on his mouth, like an X. I have that as well, and it's coming in the mail. It should be sometime tomorrow, or Friday or something, maybe Saturday at the latest, but I've ordered those as well. But I wanted to make this video kind of do a, quick, comparison with something, and just to kind of showcase this. So, you remember how in the past I used to talk about, how when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re, that there's a lot of parallels between, part 1 and part 2, like there's a lot of similarities, there's things a little bit different, but overall there's a lot of things that correlate with each other. And you remember, like, the first major villain that was kind of introduced in Tokyo Ghoul, it was Nishiki, and that was kind of like the first main villain introduced in Tokyo Ghoul Re. You had, the Serpent, which was Nishiki, fighting, Sasaki Heise. So there's a lot of similarities between this, like certain fights, to character meetups and stuff like that that reflect on each other from part 1 and part 2, and when it comes to the volumes as well, there is a lot of similarities. I've talked about in the past, I talked about like Volume 7, like the previous volume before this. Now, I've already owned this volume, but let me show you what I'm talking about when it comes to parallels to covers or certain things when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul. So this is the original Tokyo Ghoul Volume 7 cover right here. This was the one I've had for a while now, and that, like I just said, I recently just picked up 8 through 11, but this is 7, okay? This is when Kaneki, like, first became white-haired Kaneki and all that, and then he, defeated, Jason. That's kind of what the main point of this volume was. Well, in, Tokyo Ghoul Re Volume 7, same exact number, but it's part 2, the covers are very similar. Just look at the similarities of the cover. Now, as we know, Ishida loves his symbolism. He loves doing, like, his individual little reflections and different things of how characters change over time with covers, and if you look at this, you see very similar covers in terms of coloring and all that, but there's a big difference. In this one, Kaneki is smiling, and this one, he's frowning, and you can look at it as if Kaneki's happy in this one, but in reality, he's forcing a smile. He's more savage in this, and he's angry with the world and all of that. While in this one, Kaneki's kind of been able to clearly focus on the world, give a deductive gaze, and figure out what is going on, while overcoming his problems, and eventually being able to find a reason to live. And so there is a lot of, correlations to this, because in this volume, Kaneki changed. And in this volume, Kaneki is changing as well. So right here, very similar things going on with very similar covers. Now, like I said, in terms of another volume, which is Volume 8 of Tokyo Ghoul Re, you have, Arima on the cover, and then Volume 8 of Tokyo Ghoul Part 1, we have Ayato and we have Toka on the cover. Now, you might be looking at this like, okay, so what is the similarity here? Well, it's not necessarily just the cover, actually. What it really reflects here is actually the fight inside of it. Now, there's a lot of similarities in terms of the panels and stuff, like when Kaneki stands up to Arima, and then you have it to where Kaneki stands up to Ayato in this, part, Volume 8 of Tokyo Ghoul. And so there is a lot of, I guess, correlations between these two volumes in terms of, a big major fight going on. Kaneki versus Ayato is a big fight that everybody remembers from Tokyo Ghoul Part 1, and this is also a very iconic fight, and there's very similar panels, like, they look exactly similar if you put them side by side. You can see probably comparisons or somewhere online, but there is a lot of similarities between both fights. Now, the overall things about this, Volume 2, it showcases showcases the change in the character. It showcases change in Kaneki. For instance, Kaneki was more savage. We got to see the brutality of him and how far he would go, while in this we would see how far Kaneki would go to harm his own self. And there's a lot. Like I said, a lot of similarities between these two, and once again, just beautiful writing and how Ishida loves hinting at his covers or his overall volumes while the series progresses. Now, Volume 9 of what I just picked up recently, I don't have the latest Tokyo Ghoul volume. It's in the mail, like I said, but if you've seen the cover for yourself, you'll know the cover of Tokyo Ghoul Volume 9. You can look it up, you can type it up on Google and see it for yourself. Just type in Tokyo Ghoul Volume 9 cover, and you'll see it. You'll see Almond on the cover. Now, automatically, if you know about Tokyo Ghoul, you'll know the connection that Almond has with Akira, and also since the background as well has Almond, you know there's, like a correlation between the characters. And I really love how the volume, the latest volume, like, Tokyo Ghoul Volume 9, actually has Almond on the cover and all that. And I don't necessarily know if Akira is on the back, because I've actually not seen the back of the volume, but regardless, though, I like how it's like a reverse cover. You have Almond on the back, but this time Almond's like on the front in, Volume 9 Tokyo Ghoul and it just shows the connection. Volume 9 was more of Almond's introduction back into the series, and this was kind of more of the introduction of Akira into the series as well when it comes to Tokyo Ghoul. Akira getting her characterization, finding out who she is, what makes her tick, and all that. That's kind of what this volume was for as well. So I find it really cool how Almond was reintroduced into the series in Volume 9, while Akira was introduced into the series in Volume 9. So, once again, another correlation. Now, Volume 10, now, I still haven't looked too deep into this one. I just do know that when it comes to this volume, there was a lot of change with Kaneki's inner mind. There was a lot of loss, there was death and all that, and characters reflecting on their past, which is what happens a lot in the recent chapters of Tokyo Ghoul, which just came out, like, last week. And if you think about the latest chapters, that has been happening a lot. Characters reflecting on other characters' deaths, or characters, going through rapid change, and breaking down and changing for good or whatever. That's been happening. Urei, Mutsuki, Psycho, all sorts of characters that's just making radical changes, and then Almond as well. And so when you see these type of things, I feel like there's a correlation in this, because Kaneki, he goes through changes as well, and this also initiates a lot of change in future volumes, because he obtains a Kakuja at the end of this volume, which is what we see from Urei as well. He has a Kakuja, he starts going crazy, and, his character officially changes, like, he just goes in madness mode, which is what Kaneki did in this volume as well. So, once again, another, correlation to the other volume. Now, like I said, I don't know exactly who Naki has in common with Urei on the cover. I'll have to look a little bit more into it, but it's really cool when you think about how Ishida constantly does these things with his volumes. He does a lot of similarities with the chapter, and you can just see how much he progresses with the story and how much he makes it different, even though it's very similar in some ways. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the last volume, like I said, is Volume 11 I picked up, which there's no Tokyo Ghoul volume out for Volume 11. I don't even think we have a chapter out for Volume 11 of Tokyo Ghoul yet. So, if I had to assume what the next, volume is going to be about, well, the entirety of this, volume is Suzuya versus, Kuro and Shiro. You have the Arata armor, versus, Centipede, Kaneki. And then you have it to where, Almond just pretty much makes Kaneki wake up like, what the fuck you doing? And then Dr. Kato at the end, Rize and all that, seeing what's happening with her. That's basically about it when it comes to this. And also Eto at the end too, talking to Hinami. So, with the way I see it, what this volume is probably going to have a correlation with is most likely Akira and Hinami's connection, but also it might dive in a little bit more to Arata, the Arata armor and all that, because we've all assumed that Arata is still alive, with, Toka, his father, and all that. We've assumed so because of how the armor's popped up, different Quinque. We just need to see where Ishida wants to take that. But yeah, I do like what Ishida has done so far, and I just wanted to share this quick manga pickup video with you, and the covers, and my thoughts on the covers. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.